What if the headlines that shake our world are not merely chaos, but a celestial language? Could the great and tumultuous events we see on the grand stage of nations be whispers of a deeper, divine narrative unfolding before our very eyes? Why do some hearts tremble in fear at the news of war between nations like Israel and Iran, while others find a steadfast peace that surpasses all understanding? Stay with me, for the truth we are about to explore could forever anchor your soul in unshakable hope. Welcome to Pure Mind Think, your sanctuary for finding divine clarity in a world of noise. Today, we embark on a profound spiritual journey, a prophetic update not to stir fear, but to awaken faith. We will journey from the ancient, windswept plains of the Holy Land, where prophecies were first etched in stone, to the quiet solitude of a prayer closet, where the fate of nations is decided. We will explore the signs of our times, the trials that test our resolve, and the glorious, unwavering promise that in the midst of every storm, the Creator is preparing His return to help and gather His people. If you are ready to shift your perspective from fear to faith, and to place your trust in the one who holds tomorrow, I invite you to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Our journey begins now. Imagine standing on a quiet overlook, gazing upon the serene, rolling hills of Galilee. The air is still, carrying with it the scent of olive groves and the echoes of ancient history. It was in these lands that words of profound prophecy were first spoken, words that have shaped the course of civilizations for millennia. Today, those same lands are once again at the center of the world's attention. We see the headlines: Israel launches strikes against Iran, Iran's defiant ex-post, "We're ready," and reports of U.S. personnel evacuating Middle East hotspots signal a critical juncture. This is the nature of our times. We live in an age of instant information, where news of conflict and tension can reach us in a moment, no matter where we are. It is easy to feel overwhelmed, to be swept up in the tide of anxiety. We hear of talks between nations, of military posturing, of threats and retaliations. The ancient wisdom traditions, from the prophets of Israel to the sages of the East, have always taught that earthly events are often a reflection of heavenly dynamics. The Christian scriptures remind us that our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces. This teaches us that behind the political and military conflicts, there is often a spiritual battle taking place. It is a battle for the hearts and souls of humanity, between hope and fear, faith and despair. When we see nations like Iran and Israel locked in a dangerous dance, we are seeing the outworking of ancient spiritual conflicts. This is not to simplify the suffering, but to elevate our perspective. From the tranquil temples of Kyoto, where Buddhist monks contemplate the nature of suffering, we are reminded that much of the world's conflict stems from the human heart's entanglement with power and fear, the desire to dominate and control at the expense of others. These are the seeds of war. As people of faith, our role is not to take political sides, but to take a spiritual stand. We are called to pray for peace, for the hearts of leaders to be softened, and for the people of Israel to find their security in the divine. We are called to be a light in the darkness. Let us now journey from external conflicts to the internal ones. I have felt a gut-wrenching sense that something is wrong in the spirit, a warning to stay vigilant. Have you felt it too? This mirrors the chaos we see in our own streets: riots mislabeled as protests, divisions intentionally stoked. Often, when the world's attention is on one great event, another, more subtle plan is being enacted in the shadows. Imagine a great and ancient forest. To an outsider, a controlled fire looks like destruction, but a wise forester knows it is necessary to clear out the underbrush, allowing new life to grow and preventing a larger, uncontrollable wildfire. In the same way, the turmoil in society, while painful, can be a sign that a deeper cleansing is taking place. It reveals the bitterness and division that have been allowed to grow for too long. We must always ask the Creator for discernment. What is this turmoil distracting us from? Is it drawing our attention away from a more significant spiritual event? In the quiet moments of prayer, as we sit in a space as serene as the salt flats of Bolivia, where the earth meets the sky, we can ask for clarity. Creator, show us what is truly happening. This prayer for wisdom is always answered. It allows us to navigate these confusing times, not with anxiety, but with a quiet confidence, knowing that a divine hand is still at work. Now, let us face the most sobering of these signs, the one that speaks of a threat that could alter our world in an instant. The scriptures are filled with prophecies that, for centuries, seemed impossible. Isaiah chapter 17 foretells the utter destruction of Damascus, that it will become a ruinous heap. This has never been historically fulfilled. But today, with modern weaponry, such a prophecy is chillingly possible. Psalm chapter 83 describes a confederacy of nations uniting against Israel. A scenario that echoes today's geopolitical alliances. How do we, as people of faith, process such information? How do we find peace when ancient prophecies seem to align with our headlines? We find it by looking to a power infinitely greater than any earthly conflict. We find it by looking to the Creator. Let us journey to the magnificent peaks of the Swiss Alps, standing on a mountaintop, surrounded by the silent, majestic power of creation. One feels a sense of awe. These mountains have stood for millennia, silent witnesses to the rise and fall of empires. They remind us that there is a power far greater than our own. And faith teaches us that even this great power is subject to the will of its Creator. The Bible is filled with stories of divine power over creation. The God who parted the Red Sea, who stopped the sun in the sky, who calmed the raging storm. These are not just myths. They are testaments to a reality that is still true today. The Creator who holds the universe in His hands is not intimidated by the conflicts of humanity. This is the source of our ultimate peace. Many spiritual traditions hold that the collective prayers of the faithful can create a spiritual shield, a divine protection that can avert disaster. The biblical story of Abraham interceding for the city of Sodom reveals a profound principle. The prayers of the righteous have the power to alter outcomes. The power is not in the people themselves, but in the Creator to whom they pray. This is our sacred duty and our greatest hope. Let us not be paralyzed by fear, but mobilized by faith. Let the majestic stillness of the Alps be a reminder to us: be still, and know that He is God. Our trust is in Him. This is where the global body of believers must rise to its calling. Our part is not to engage in the endless arguments of politics, but in the powerful work of prayer. To be a voice of truth and hope in a world of confusion. To be a beacon of light in the darkness. This is our divine assignment. In other spiritual traditions, this same truth echoes. In Judaism, the concept of tikkun olam speaks of our shared responsibility to repair the world through righteous acts and prayer. In Islam, the power of dua, supplication, is immense. A direct conversation with God that can alter destiny. The message is universal. Our connection to the Creator is our greatest source of power. So, when you feel overwhelmed, do not sink into despair. Turn off the television. Step away from the endless scroll of fearful headlines. Find a quiet place and connect with the Creator. Pray for peace, for wisdom for our leaders, for revival of hearts. I believe that as we do this, we will see a breakthrough. We do not have to fear the mess. As our journey of understanding comes to its conclusion, let us bring this prophetic update into the quiet sanctuary of our own hearts. We have looked at the shaking of the world, the conflicts, the divisions. We have affirmed that our role is not one of passive fear, but of active faith. But what does this mean for you, today, as you prepare to lay your head on your pillow tonight? It means finding a peace that is not dependent on world events. The ultimate prophetic update is this: the Creator is in control, and He has promised to return. This is the blessed hope that has sustained believers for millennia. It is the understanding that this world, with all its turmoil, is not our final home. The great spiritual traditions all point to a day of reckoning, a day of restoration. For Christians, this is the glorious return of Jesus Christ, who comes not to bring more war, but to establish His kingdom of eternal peace, to wipe away every tear, and to rescue the souls of humanity. This is the hope that allows us to look at the troubling headlines and say, I see the signs, but I will not be afraid. It allows us to live with a sense of divine purpose, knowing our lives are part of a much grander story. It frees us from the desperate need to fix everything ourselves, and allows us to rest in the knowledge that the ultimate victory has already been secured. So tonight, before you sleep, I invite you to perform a small act of faith. Turn your worries over to the Creator. Release your anxieties about the future into His capable hands. Thank you for joining me on this profound journey with Pure Mind Think. Please, let us know in the comments what part of this message resonated with you the most. Your story encourages us all. Until we meet again, may you rest in His peace, walk in His strength, and live in the joyful expectation of His return.